What's up, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to the Grinders live show.
Yeah, we got MLB DFS takes. We got Tuttle here. We're gonna break down MLB DFS ownership for this night's slate. It's perfect.
Has that intro been updated in like 6 years?
No,
or like half of those guys even with Roto Grinders anymore?
Well, yeah, no, we do. We have edited for the right guys, but like I thought we were having a Swolecast intro. What we had like the 1, 2, or the like generic countdown. So can you get on here, please?
Get in here, Salsa.
Yep.
Can we get like a Swolecast specific countdown?
Yeah, I can try. I'm not a graphic designer, but
well, it's not really a graphic design thing. It's a video editor thing.
Well, Dave, Sosa's kind of your protege, and he's learning from you that you don't really have to do your job. That's kind of the number one thing he's learned here under your tutelage is that someone asks you to do something, and you're like, no, like I'll get to it. Maybe
it would be great if you guys answered me in the chat.
I answered. It would be so helpful if
Davis
I knew answered.
What the show was going to be about.
Pete is the one that waited like a couple of days. You can't reach him anymore. I tried the other day. He was good
when I DM'd him quick on Twitter.
Right.
Because Slack is a dead medium. Slack is as outdated as this intro. Can we move our group chat to Discord away from all the boomers on Slack? I mean,
Davis will not do Discord. He will not.
Oh, trust me, Davis does Discord.
Buddy, I'm in Discord. I'm in Discord all day. I'm in Discord all day. No, I don't. I prefer Slack, but I'm in Discord all day.
Last year, you said that you would not do Discord, like flat out. You would not do Discord.
I don't prefer Discord, but I will do it if it needs to be done.
All right, watch out for those phishing links. Welcome to the Swolecast here on rotogrinders.com. Soccer Dad with Davis Maddock at Davis Maddock. You got his name, you got his handle right there, so you know who he is. And then Pete. Pete's with us. Thank you, Pete, for being with us and just gracing us with your presence.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at Peter Overzet. I did forget to put it in my StreamYard handle there.
Davis, such a brand guy. All right.
Did I do that?
Yeah, you did.
That just must be permanently like what I'm in StreamYard as, which is good branding by me. It's like literally like you should be doing that.
What's in front of
Yeah, it's his other webcam.
Oh, I thought I was in the wrong webcam. No wonder I look so pale because I have a really good tan. Thank you, FF Doom. Would you like to submit your resume for podcast and video producer?
Are you going to change it, or are you just going to acknowledge?
No, I am. Let me finish. Please. We did hire Rob Coakley. Rob is the star of Spike Week, and he had an amazing best ball shanty. He's been cranking out content left and right, and so he was booked for this show, but we brought on a guy who works for him, I think, Erik Beimfohr. Erik, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate being the backup, similar to what you were with the Spike Week Royal Rumble, our backup plan. Every 3 to 4 times a year that the Swolecast happens, I'm here for you to step in. But no, Rob is great. Seriously, Rob is awesome. He doesn't get enough promotion, so I'm actually happy that we brought him up. He is the man. Yeah. He is absolutely the man.
Do you know one of the things that legit he's going to be helping us with? I promise. It's video intros.
I was just gonna say, why not have Rob make us a video?
He is.
Intro?
That is like step one of his responsibility after babysitting Erik. So, Erik, tell us a little bit about Spike Week. For those, obviously, you have this big platform now with the Swolecast. You have your chance to kind of tell everybody out there listening about Spike Week and the new tools that you have. Just give us a 30-second elevator pitch.
Yeah, this huge platform. I really appreciate everything you've done here, Dave. But
you're really sort of one of his other proteges.
Yeah, exactly. Don't say that.
No, I don't think Erik is on a different tree. Erik's on his own tree.
That's true. That is definitely true. No, Spike Week is under the Roto-Grinders and Better Collective umbrella, our best ball platform. Best ball is taking off. If you're watching this, you probably know, because the Swolecast has been transformed into a best ball show during this summer. And it's our best ball dedicated community. We're building tools similar to what we have on Roto-Grinders with Lineup HQ and all that different Slate IQ, all that stuff. We're building a best ball focused product. So we have, premium ranking strategy tools and everything. We just recently launched the tool, the very first tool. And, I'm biased, but it's pretty awesome. It literally knocked Soccer Dave off the stream because it was so important that he had to go run and log into it, is what I'm hoping. Actually, he hasn't even signed up, if we're being totally honest.
This is going to be the Ewing theory of how much better this show gets when our host is off the show.
I'm watching the viewer numbers to see if they rise.
Skyrocketing. Everyone's like, "Oh my god!" We did it once during the NFL season. Dave, made up some excuse, like some call that doesn't actually exist in the Better Collective office, and we just did an hour straight of legit DFS analysis, and people were like, "What is this? What's happening?"
So one thing I wanted to ask you, Beimfohr, because I'm excited to hop in and check out the Draft IQ stuff. How are you balancing this idea of, once you get all the data in front of you and you're like, holy shit, there's this combo that I love that I have zero of, and then knowing, say you have X amount of BBM3 drafts left, being like, I want to get this, but I also can't force it either. I bet that's the fear I have when I dig into that data, is I'm going to be like, shit, I'm going to find the value hound in me get eliminated because I want to go get these combos I don't have.
Right. Or the week 17 hound, or vice versa. Like it is fascinating. I actually haven't been drafting as much right now. At least not like on Underdog and not in Best Ball Mania, because I'm like kind of doing that analysis. I've been posting it occasionally to Twitter as I start to uncover it myself. Like the big thing I talked about yesterday was, as everyone that knows me knows, Trey Lance. I'm obsessed with Trey Lance. He's my favorite quarterback pick, still is, even as he rises in ADP. And everyone also knows I'm just like you. I'm very focused on week 17. And I start to go through and I'm like, at the macro level, even within Draft IQ, before we started to build out some kind of enhancements, I could see, oh, look, I got plenty of Trey Lance. I even have plenty of that week 17 game. I have the correlations. Everything looks good. And then we've added the ability to dig into specific player combinations. You can literally search Trey Lance and Hunter Renfrow, Trey Lance and Justin Fields, whatever. And I can pull up from within each stack that I have and see the exact combination. So like we have stacks just being two players either from the same team or from that week 17 game. So I can say, okay, Tyrion Davis-Price and Darren Waller is a stack of that game. But when I dig into it and see, I actually have two Trey Lance teams that are stacks of that game, even though he's my highest owned quarterback. And it's like, I'm trying to dig into all that and then like level set after I kind of have an idea of how it all looks, because it's really, really easy to, like you said, go in and say, well, look, he's my highest owned player. Both sides are true. I can say Trey Lance is my highest owned quarterback. Do I have too much? And then I dig into the numbers and I say, well, I don't have like half the combinations with Trey Lance that I want. But on the flip side, then you start reaching or forcing things when they don't come to you. So I'm trying to just do the analysis right now and then kind of come back in a couple weeks or something and start to try to implement that strategy.
Yeah, it would almost be like the equivalent of in DFS, if you were like, so you have your 150 max set and you, I'm trying to think how the analogy works, but it's like you don't know the ownership percentages and you want to get your exposures, but then you find out like the field has 50% of this guy. I feel like that would be the equivalent of being like, I don't want to reach for this stack because then I'm maybe not getting it in good. I'm running into ownership or whatever. But it is just like an interesting thought experiment of like, do you go out of your way to get kind of the exposures you want to get? Or like you might just run bad and have 50 straight drafts where like you are never in a good spot to get these guys. And then you have to wrestle with, do I want to play each room as its unique room? Or do I want to make sure I get these exposures?
100%. And piggybacking on that, even if you get into rooms where things may be more feasible, it's like, if you're a good drafter and you're just treating that draft, like you said, I'm in that room and I'm drafting the best I can in that room and I don't get combinations, does that mean I need to seek them out, or does it mean I'm still drafting optimally and my portfolio is just gonna I'm just not gonna have Trey Lance, Deebo Samuel, and Darren Waller. Like, it's just not gonna happen based on how I'm approaching my drafts. I actually don't know what the right answer is. Maybe I'm drafting suboptimally by not having that pairing, but I don't know until I like start to look into it and then figure that out. And so that's what I'm mostly excited about, is this gives everybody the opportunity to actually really understand how you're drafting. Like, you and I, everybody except Soccer Dave on this show is like a, adamant best ball drafter, drafting tons of teams. Don't do it. Don't do it.
The finals?
Yes.
For underdog?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Well, then there's only one person on this show who has not made the underdog best ball
Dave,
finals.
I really congratulate you for your 19th place finish in the Puppy 2 years ago. It was I think one of the crowning achievements of your DFS
I'll never
career.
forget with David. I did. What did we swap? We
You
swapped.
did
I sent you a Jokic moment.
the equity swap.
Davis, didn't you finish top in drafters?
I got second the first year they ran it, and I got third last year.
Okay, look at us. Look at the, we actually have a resume among us for the first time. That's pretty nice.
We certainly can't do that. We
Yeah.
certainly can't do that on the DFS show.
No, I mean, you won the Billy Maker though, so.
I forgot. I won the Billy Maker.
I did too.
Congrats,
So,
guys. Congrats.
we might have tied, but we won it. All right. So if you have any comments in the chat, feel free to ask them. I want to just get like on a macro level. Eric, all these different sites, all these different tournaments, how are you juggling them all?
I'm trying to keep my head above water.
Amazing question, Dave.
It's actually really hard. Like, we have so many tournaments now, and all the sites are so different.
And they're different, right?
It's really, like Davis is talking about drafters. I'm at a micro level. Something I'm trying to do is I'm actually doing a little less underdog right now and trying to hone in on drafters and a little bit of DraftKings, but mostly drafters actually right now. And so I'm kind of just letting the summer kind of flow and not forcing like anything. We just did like the underdog cardio club, and that was really fun, but I'm kind of in a little pausing pattern on Best Ball Mania just to focus on the other tournaments. And the other big thing I would just say is like experimenting in all of them, and then seeing where, like, if ultimately I go through drafters and I don't really love it, like, I'm not gonna invest my time there. Like, you only have so many hours. Like, that's the biggest hindrance to best ball is really not even money, because you can't even spend that much money if you really want to. Anybody could go get a loan probably and max most of these contests. It's time. It's all time.
Do not recommend.
Not financial advice.
Not financial advice.
You're talking about Jokic moments still. Let's not talk about.
I know.
financial
No,
advice.
we talked about that's what we did trade. It seems so long ago, but it was really like only a little bit over a year ago. By the way, promo code Grinders for drafters. They just rolled out a
promo code Spike also.
Like they it's on the same team, Eric.
Maybe.
So basically, $2.22. I think that's their low cost draft they just rolled out, like their version of the puppy.
It's awesome.
The kitty. They don't call it that, but
I don't think they call
the
it
mini.
The mini. Yeah.
Mini.
Okay. And then DraftKings. I'm not sponsored by DraftKings. I know I got the hats. They actually just sent this to me. I got a package with that and a shirt. Did you get the hat as well?
Yeah.
I went for the
NPK?
I went for the hoodie and the Yeti.
Oh, this is So I did the fire pit. I did the fire pit, but this is an older hat. NPK. Shout out Nathaniel Peters Kroll, who was the man in VIP. R.I.P. to his time.
Aguiar.
Well, you didn't get any swag?
No.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Tough scene.
I'm gonna have to follow up. I thought Nathan and I had a really good relationship. I would email him every week this year to make the Deposit Kingdom tournament, and I guess it didn't mean anything to him.
Maybe there's a threshold there. I will say that it's nice getting free stuff, but like DraftKings used to do these promotions. I don't, and maybe they do with like what's above the gold. Davis, is it platinum?
We call ourselves the Diamond Dogs.
Are you in Diamond right now?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
buddy, no one grinds enough $3 UCL double ups to get Diamond like me. I farm the achievements similar to how I farm engagement on Twitter. Like, I will be playing 197 MLB DFS slates this year to get the 50,000 crowns.
Can we talk about Davis going like full player take farmer engagement guy lately? I mean, this has been a shift, Davis. I mean, I remember you doing this in years past, but you've really cranked it up lately.
Yeah, I always do this around this time of the year because it's time to get the followers cranking up for in season, so I can eventually sell them something. And
I think it's because Bitcoin's down, honestly.
But yeah, it's like what
I don't remember this.
Do the people need me to tell them to buy Bitcoin again or talk about like the golden pups? Like, no one cares. It's all fantasy football. So we're Holka would tell me to do something I'm good at. I'm very good at farming. So it's like, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Just ask Dave. He's never worked.
Yeah. Davis, have you identified the 5 traits that are keeping you from being your best self?
Oh, I am my best self.
I don't mind some of the threads, like how to maximize whatever.
Buddy, I read. I'm giving Hulk a shit, but I read all of them. That's right up. That's right up my alley.
Here's ones I do not like though. The ones that tell you like what you're doing wrong. Like here's what to not do in order to be productive. I know that. Like I get it, right?
Everyone believes that you know that.
Yeah, like people should understand, like, scrolling reels or like waking up in the morning and just getting on the phone. Like, yeah, that's counterproductive. But it's
but people, like, I don't know, it's pretty easy to get entrenched in your routine of doing that shit. So I think it's
Do you think anyone worth their salt though is saying like man, this is really productive. Like, if I wanted to increase productivity, what should I do? And that would be like one of the first things that you would do. Davis has
but sometimes
optimized his life.
But sometimes it's kind of easy to get off track, dude.
David,
Eric and I tell people to draft 0 RB literally every day, and the people still don't do it. So I think the repetition is good for people.
100%.
So we did have a comment on last week's show, or the week before last. It was actually last week. Someone had watched it a little bit later. This guy had asthma and said that basically there's 2 forms of asthma and he should be okay. We're talking about Traylon Burks. He should be okay. And his last request was, please, Davis, no more medical takes. Then Davis tried to throw this back on me once everyone started liking the tweet.
That doesn't sound like me. Also, classic engagement farming by David. He's like he's gone 14 days without a tweet with more than 4 faves. So he's like, what can I do? I'll at Davis in a tweet and I'll get to at least 16 favorites and 3 replies minimum.
It happened. So yeah, no more medical advice from Davis. Davis said that the carnivore diet pretty much cures everything, and that's not real. And so I guess Nate Noling also believes this, Davis, and you're getting your takes from him.
Dude, Nate, you want to talk about dudes who have gone all in. Nate makes he is all out, dude. He's eating raw liver. He's getting colostrum sent to his house, which is I literally don't even know how to define. Like, this guy is all in on animal products only.
What happened to Nate? Is he just down so bad with crypto stuff too?
No, Nate has also had like a bad back, bad knees, like stuff, and this was like one of the things he did, and he's on the up and up now.
Has he considered getting up from the desk chair and away from the computer for a couple hours a day?
I don't think he's considered that.
Maybe it's
Eric,
not the meat eating. It's the like lack of activity in life.
Eric, where are you? Like, let's just say best shape of your life. Where are you right now?
Oh, definitely not best shape of my life. I'm starting to feel older by the day, but I'm very focused on getting back into good shape. I try to.
What is very
Eric,
focused
let's
mean?
go work out, bro. Come work out.
Yeah.
Davis, can you stop flexing? You flex all the time. Even like when it's like you're stretching, you still lift your arms.
I'm just excited. It would be amazing to work out at 6 o'clock in the morning at Club Fitness with Eric.
Gotta go. I'm gonna just fire off a tweet here real quick.
Yeah, that's how everybody flexes. Dave, aren't you? Aren't you?
Yeah,
That's
Dave,
how I yawn too.
Dave, give us the gun show. Give us the gun show.
Oh, Jesus.
Screen cap it, Sosa.
Maya.
All right. So what does that mean? You're hyper focused on getting into really good shape, Eric. Like, what are you doing right now? Give us some health tips.
So my problem, I need the real takes from you guys. My problem is I have really bad knees and a bad back actually now as I'm getting older. And so the cardio aspect of things is my biggest struggle. I still like to lift weights and all that kind of stuff. I walk a lot, like walking the dogs. I get up and walk in the morning. Life hack, get out the moment you wake up and get into the sun.
Go look at the sun, bro.
100%. It helps. It really does help. It also helps you stay away from your phone a little bit. But the fitness part is like I can't like get to where I want to be because like I can't run a lot. I can't do a ton of extreme cardio because it's just my body is broken down from everything I did for 25 years.
Backwards walk, dude.
I've seen you posting.
Yeah,
that.
this is
a
your
real
new
thing. Is this
I
a real
mean,
thing?
I do it. I mean, the real
Where
thing.
did you?
It's like I'm not giving medical advice on this show, but there's this guy. His name is Ben Patrick. He's been on. I think he was on the Rogan show, but Huberman highlighted
Davis
some of his stuff.
Davis, big Rogan fan.
I mean, I'm not. I obviously did not listen to him on Joe Rogan, but I know that people are into that. But his whole deal is like he had awful, horrible knees and whatever. But his big tenet is backwards walking. There's like he's got like loads and loads of other stuff you can do and stretches and exercises. But the biggest thing is just walking backwards like 10, 20 minutes a day.
Curious, you say you're a backwards walker, and yet I've seen you walk forward before.
It is rather curious.
All right, let's walk it back to fantasy and best ball. Superflex drafts about 3/4 way full through the Superflex puppy. Eric,
it's more than that.
It's like 90%.
I need to get in some more then. Eric, how invested are you into the Superflex format?
Not very. I think I did 15.
Like none?
No, not. I think I did 15 drafts, and I'm not going to do any more. Mostly on the first day. So you got you want life hacks best ball version.
You're hacking
when these
the
new
ADP.
Contests. Exactly, you got to hack the ADP on these contests that are only going to be open for like a week.
You got to just jam them day one.
Day one, people don't understand, especially new formats like Superflex. People didn't get it. They don't know what they're doing. You're getting quarterbacks going way too late, and all and the ADP is stale even outside of the quarterbacks. So the day one is the best. It doesn't matter as much for Best Ball Mania or whatever because it's open for 5 months. But for the Superflex and like Puppy and that, I'm mostly just like smashing them on day one, and then hashtag content after that, but nothing super special.
What is your guys' theory on this? Because all offseason before best ball starts up, everyone's like, oh, I want there to be these inventive new game formats. And everyone's like, why is there not more super flex? All of this. And then it comes out. And Eric, I don't know if you're hearing it from your people. Like all my comments in the Discord, people are like, yeah, I'll do these. And clearly it's filling fast. But no one seems that interested in it. No one's as addicted as they are the regular ones. Is it because I don't really have a good theory why that is.
It's the content feedback loop, in my opinion.
It's your echo chamber. Yeah.
If ship chasing and Spike Week and everything, if for 2 weeks all it was talking about the unique form, it's the same reason why the soccer contests and tennis contests are not that big on DraftKings and FanDuel. It's because the majority of the content, there's no grinders live for Wimbledon, right? It's just the way.
Well, the fact that it's already almost full, I think, shows that people are playing, just not your people, Pete. Like because
no. My people are playing. They just don't love it that much. That's my point.
Yeah.
It's clear it's going to be filled. It's like they're begrudgingly playing it because it's the $5 price point that's available.
But why don't they love it though? Like,
that's
can you
literally
give us...
what I asked.
I know, but like you're talking to these people. You're talking to these people. Like, why are they saying they really don't love it? Like, what reasoning are they giving?
I don't know. I don't know. That's why I'm confused. I'm truly confused.
I don't. Two initial thoughts are, one is I don't think people love the contests that are only open for a small pocket of time, like that. The smaller thing that fills in a week.
I think that's smart. Yeah.
You're 100% right, Davis, on like the feedback loop. Is if I start doing streams, and I know Pete's doing streams, and Davis, you are around the new formats and stuff that come out. If the person listens to it 3 days late and the contest is almost closed, and the shit we talked about on day one is like, some of it might not even be relevant, right? The quarterback thing we just talked about. Somebody in the chat is saying they got like Lamar and like Kyler and Hurts or whatever on the same team. They all go in like the top 8 now. Like, it's not even relevant to the current drafts. And so that quick cycle of ADP updating and the contest closing, I think, is a little bit of a turnoff, because like this is so new, and like the strategy part of it is so fun. That's why we can talk about stuff now that's going to be relevant in August and September around like Best Ball Mania. But like in the Superflex thing, if you don't have like a plan of attack for the first 24 to 48 hours, like you're going to get left in the dust, and that's not as much fun in this space, I don't think.
All right, so devil's advocate here. Isn't that same line of reasoning you would just play like on DraftKings then? Because underdog is so sharp. And you got a lot, like in every draft, there's people that are doing these format or doing like it's fun, and that's what it should be. But as far as being sharp, underdog, their regular BBM stuff are probably the sharpest contest you can be in right now for best ball.
Yeah, but it's still peer to peer. And when just because the market is relatively efficient doesn't mean there aren't things we can do in a contest with 500,000 people that's super top heavy to like, be different. The edge just changes in Superflex. In this Superflex thing, it's like you only got 5 days to like the edge can only change so much, and the edge may not change in a way that's like really even realizable for us. Like today we could draft a Superflex team and like, I don't know, we can do our best, and maybe I have some thoughts on some things you should do, but like, I don't know, I'm probably just punting $5 off. In Best Ball Mania, it's like, well, Cortland Sutton just rose 3 rounds. Let's talk about, should we still draft him and all that kind of stuff, and who the next man up is. And that doesn't exist in the thing that's only open for a week. It's just a very different game.
You know why he's rising, why he's been going up, is because of the week 17 bros have been pumping.
But Jerry Judy's going back down. Is falling back down.
I buy it with the Chargers game.
Yeah, it's Mike and Keenan.
Well,
yeah.
That's it though, right?
Yeah.
I think that's it.
I haven't seen too many other glaring examples, but I'm glad you brought up the week 17, because I was reading the chat and trying to crack this puzzle. Why aren't we as into it? And I do think in the same way people push back against the week 17 stuff, because what it basically did was add another layer of things you really need to think through when you're going through the draft. And the grinders and the people who love doing a bunch of these drafts, there's just this comfort and comfortability in going through the draft, selecting your players. It's like easy, like we know how to do it. And so anytime you add this wrinkle that causes you to not be able to do it in just like the most relaxed way possible, it feels like a bit of a nuisance. In the same way week 17 correlations are a nuisance, I think Superflex is a bit of a nuisance. It's like, man, I can't just put my feet up and draft this. I actually have to kind of pay attention.
Do I have to take Mac Jones in the 5th round? I don't like Mac Jones, but do I have to take him in the 5th round? Because this stupid format making me take.
But they need to keep on doing these new these different formats, I think.
Can I also say, I think they, pardon my French, fucked up the Superflex format, replacing a wide receiver position with a Superflex.
Agree.
If they would have kept the third wide receiver and then added the quarterback, which maybe on their back, their back end is a problem, I think, maybe, but I don't know.
I think the way they launched it was better. They did it. They accidentally uploaded it with the wrong format. I thought that was better. 10 rounds. 2 quarterbacks, 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex.
You're crazy.
10 rounds?
10 rounds sucks.
No, 10 rounds is amazing. You can knock them out in 20 minutes.
Well, yeah, that's the only thing that's better.
There's less chances for your opponents to make mistakes in 10 rounds, Davis.
Yep.
20 Rick says, I've never drafted a best ball team. I feel like I would get hooked and not go outside. Advice?
Yeah,
Pretty
look
much.
at Davis's skin.
Yeah.
Davis goes, look at my skin.
I'm pretty tan. This is just bad light for me.
Yeah,
Everyone has bad light.
right.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
That's
He's
what
not
I
as
say,
tan
yeah.
as us guys, am I right? But no, I think they should continue doing these like super flex and stuff because I keep on saying things might get stale. Things might get stale, and you need to. Who plays Wordle anymore?
God.
Pete, you
This
play
is an
Wordle
awful
anymore?
I never played Wordle to begin with.
Spags
Exactly.
does though, right? Spags,
Please don't
Spags
compare
still playing
best
Wordle?
ball to Wordle. I mean, that is
No,
such a
it's
bad
just
cop.
it's just the thing of like if something is the same thing over and over again, eventually you just stop going back to it.
Well, there's
Eric-
a difference. There's a little difference, I think, with best ball because we constantly are getting new information, even if the information is bullshit. Like the we're getting random Debo Samuel reports, or this whole Deshaun Watson disaster, or Alvin Kamara, or I'm trying to think of Eno Benjamin. Right? We had I know that the Spike Week community and probably Pete yours too. Like, people are just degenerates, but like. People spent an entire day discussing Arizona Cardinals backup running backs, like thousands of messages being posted about because one reporter posted an Eno Benjamin basically like puff piece. But like we're getting new information. So there's always still something for people to sink their teeth into versus Wordle is just like show up and do this same exercise every day.
Right. Which I was pretty good at it, if we're being honest.
Wow.
All right. So, Eric, what is your perfect? You get to decide next year. You've just been named CEO of Best Ball Incorporated. You get to decide the perfect format. We're talking about prize money and we're talking about format. You've got 30 seconds. Go.
It's a hybrid between. It's definitely the playoff format because the playoff format that Underdog and DraftKings has makes for more fun. I know Davis doesn't necessarily agree. He prefers the cumulative format, like from a skill-based perspective.
It's more fun.
No, Davis. This is
It's
Eric's.
more fun.
This is Eric's time. Eric's time. Please, Eric,
Yes.
continue.
Please. These are my closing arguments.
15
You
seconds.
can have your closing arguments. But the playoff format is what makes the thing so fun. That sweat of getting to the playoffs and then having the final round team is the best. But I would definitely do full point PPR. I think half point PPR is a little too boring. The full point PPR adds more excitement to it. I would not do the DraftKings like bonuses though, like 300-yard bonus, 100-yard. So I would kind of thread the needle in between there. It's just basic PPR leagues with the playoff format and then a slightly flatter payout structure. And I would probably I haven't figured out the regular season thing. I think Underdog was on to the right idea with some of the regular season stuff, but the way they implemented it was absolutely terrible with just 1 million to the only regular season champion. So it's some kind of hybrid prize pool between regular season and the playoffs with a PPR scoring format.
Sounds like you haven't really thought this through. All right, Davis, what would your perfect format be?
Mine would probably be a little bit more in-depth version of what Underdog is doing, where it's a software problem on their end in terms of awarding cumulative points. So they basically they're going to have to spreadsheet check by hand. That's
why they're doing the first place is because of the spreadsheet. Yeah.
So they're not going to be able to. But next year they should theoretically have this figured out. So my perfect format would actually be a hybrid of the cumulative points and of the playoff, where you award both inside the same prize pool. So, and you have staggered payouts for cumulative points. You have staggered payouts for the playoffs. I also wonder if the 3-week playoff period is kind of a dinosaur remnant of the FFPC main event. I wonder if cutting it earlier and doing 4 weeks of elimination or 5 weeks of elimination is sort of interesting. Like, I haven't even gamed that out, how that would change drafting. And that gets a little bit difficult because the NFL has changed their bye week structure. But that is something. But the big thing is that I would like prizes to be awarded both cumulatively and for playoffs.
Pete?
Yeah, the one thing, it's like I'm inclined to agree with Eric for PPR because I love PPR.
Oh,
and
yes.
Yet half point PPR throws people off the scent. There are people who do not think wide receivers are important. They don't think zero RB is viable. And so I kind of appreciate that, where even on FFPC now, you see more and more teams willing to go zero RB with that full point PPR and being able to start up to 4 wide receivers in the flex. So that I kind of like that red herring for people, because it's half point PPR. It's better for the running back, blah, blah, blah. So I do like that. And then I do agree, like we've talked about it on the show before, like I want people in my draft rooms who are approaching it or can justifiably approach it from a different direction than me. And if we spread it out, 200 prizes, 300 prizes to the top regular season scores, to have these guys just approaching it differently than me, I think that makes those draft rooms so much more fun.
Yeah.
What about you, Dave? You bet in these streets, obviously.
Best ball influencer.
It kind of goes back to, obviously I'm partial to me creating the whole best ball dynasty, Superflex tight end premium. So I would enjoy that sort of format. I would also enjoy a best ball tournament just strictly that went after Scott Fish. I would enjoy like a Scott Fish best ball tournament for money.
I don't. What do you mean by that?
Like the format.
What element of that are you wanting to carry over? The scoring,
number of rounds,
the playoffs.
The scoring of the Scott Fish Bowl.
No, I think that's pretty bad for something that people are going to play for money.
Okay. Well,
I don't think you want the scoring so hyper weighted towards specific types of players, which is what ends up happening. Which is why Scott changes it every year.
He changes it every year, but that's the part of the fun, is that it's different every year. And so there are different theories, different people coming out with whatever you want. So you're asking what I would want. That's what I would want. Because everyone gears up for Scott Fish Bowl, and then like right after, it's just like all this content, it ceases to exist for all the Scott Fish Bowl. And so it could be something that would have a much longer shelf life as far as content.
And I do think one thing you realize, and I think it was a good point about the Superflex removing that wide receiver spot made it a little less interesting. And another thing that I felt from the Superflex drafts is just how valuable that top 6 or 7 pick is. Basically, wherever your QB1 tier extends to. I mean, the gap between what you're getting there versus the guy who has to take Kirk Cousins or Trevor Lawrence is massive. And so, like, thinking through those ADP tiers within a specific season and being like, okay, maybe this tournament does need to be 3rd round reversal to kind of balance that edge out. I think you just have to be really purposeful with how you engineer these contests.
Someone said, please don't make Kitchen expand on this. He doesn't actually know what he wants. Fair. And someone else said they would do a tight end only best ball. So speaking of tight ends, Tight End University is going on in Nashville. I forget about it.
This is the only show where Tight End University is ever brought up, because somehow Dave opens the Nashville Dispatch or whatever the Nashville paper is called and sees this on the sports page and is like, I'm going to bring that up on the Swolecast later. I'm going to bring something to the table.
You don't think that Tight End U has become like a pretty big thing as far as in the NFL landscape?
No one cares. Not you. No one. Not one person.
But it's like a big thing, though, right?
No.
You know who cares?
You haven't heard anything about
Mackey Award.
Yeah, Evan Silva. Yeah, they're gonna do a whole review of Tight End U on the Establish the Run pod.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. I'm talking about from a media side of things.
I just mean no one cares for fantasy football. Who went to Tight End U last year?
All the tight ends.
No way they let Jonnu in that.
Did Albert Akuibunam go to Tight End U?
No,
the elite.
They probably invited Dulcich, not.
If they invite Dulcich and not Alberto, well, no, it's just a further continuation of the false flag.
Jonnu went to Tight End JUCO. Actually,
he went to
last chance tight end.
Yeah, last chance tight end.
No, he went to fullback U. Him and Kyle Juszczyk were hanging out.
So, yeah. All right. Well, I was using that as a segue into tight ends that you like, Eric, this year. I was listening to Silva, and he was on with Norse. He was talking about how there's this range of tight ends. It's not really it's not really the dead zone for tight ends. It's just like all the tight ends are the same after you get to like tight end 12 to tight end 20. You mentioned like just touchdown upside. And that's why he likes Bobby Tonyan. So what are your takes on tight end this year?
Tonyan is actually a guy I have had like way higher than I keep backing him down in the rankings because his ADP doesn't really rise, but I've had him way higher. So it's funny that you bring him up. He was one of the guys I was going to mention because the whole world has steamed up like every Packer. Pick a Packer. They get right. Aaron Jones, everybody is going to benefit from no Davante Adams if you go tweet their or search their name on Twitter or whatever. Aaron Jones, look at his splits without Davante Adams. AJ Dillon is going to get all this work. Alan Lazard's going to be the number one. Sammy Watkins is the late round guy you got to have, and Christian Watson is for whatever reason going in like the ninth round of drafts. But nobody cares about Tonyan, who's like the touchdown scorer. And to Pete's point about like half point PPR earlier, like this is a way we can like maybe strategize around half point PPR where touchdowns at tight end are so important. He's already done a double digit touchdown season. So he's definitely a guy. And then the other thing is, again, kind of piggybacking on that, you're like tight end 12 and later is there's this belief, and I don't think it's necessarily wrong in like our space that like, oh, you got to get an elite tight end. You got to get an elite tight end because then you can only draft 2 and like they have the upside or whatever. I really do feel like there's a lot of guys. Tonyan, Hunter Henry was really good last year. Noah Fant, we've just destroyed. Now Baker is there. We've just ruined Noah Fant. He's going in the 180s or whatever. Gerald Everett is there with the Chargers. They haven't added anybody on offense. There are a lot of options later. And I'm trying to force myself to consider a little bit more of maybe 2 or if you want to draft 3 late round tight ends and just mixing through all of those guys. Because I really don't have a strong preference between a ton of them. But I think there's a lot of intriguing options. And we're in this weird spot where like, I don't know, Kittle is great week to week, but I'm not sure that he has like a season long tight end 1 upside. With Trey Lance in there. Waller has Davante Adams now. Mark Andrews is not going to do what he did last year. So I kind of think that there's a lot of merit to the late round guys.
And Pete? I was just going to say, yeah, because I heard that conversation that they were having too. And I'm like, the way I think about it, I do like getting the elite tight end. Can they put up that 30-point week, in those money weeks? Or beyond that, then I really do just want to correlate it with my quarterback or a team I'm making a big bet on, which was kind of the point Silva was making too, where it's like they are going to be so touchdown dependent. Ergo, that's going to be their quarterback throwing those touchdowns. So if you're hitting on a Kui Boonam or Gerald Everett or Cole Kmet, like I want their quarterbacks because the correlation there just seems so high to them having like a top 5 season.
All right. Next topic I want to discuss. C. Williams NFL, Christian Williams, yesterday said the disrespect Zeke is getting for fantasy football he actually said, that was the reply. He said he's the easiest pick in fantasy football drafts right now, was the exact tweet.
Well, yeah, he's been so good for so long now, averaged about 4.1 yards per carry.
Behind the best offensive line in the NFL on an elite offense.
He's got 1,900 rushing yards on a shade over 500 attempts. Just he 58 yards a game last year. How can you not just run to take this guy in the 4th round? Just run to the podium.
Pete's face is cracking me up right now because he...
Oh, no, I just wanted to share my Zeke exposure in Best Ball Mania 3. I put in the StreamYard hopper there if you want to pull that up, Sosa. It's the easiest click for me. It's why I've done it once in 59 drafts because it's so easy.
I wonder if I have any of them. Let's see. Lawden thinks, do we think I have Ezekiel Elliott on any team?
Yes, you do. You channel your inner boomer every now and again. No?
One puppy team.
One puppy. All right.
I shared mine, and I'm a corporate man. I'm plugging our tool, but you see here Zeke 0. 100. What is that?
Do you ever just want to go? Teams. Do you ever just want to go full boomer and do the Zeke Henry 65 rushing attempts in 1 game, week 17 stack?
So here's the more interesting.
Or he can get like 50 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. Like
I'd rather lose. That's like drafting Deshaun Watson. I'd rather lose than win with that combination of players.
Here's the more interesting question to me on the Zeke Pollard stuff. Do you think it's more likely Zeke in Best Ball Mania 3 gets more expensive or gets cheaper?
Way likely more expensive. Infinitely more likely he gets.
Don't you think
he's in the 4th round right now? Like, I mean, that's
we get who's the Hard Knocks team? It's not the Cowboys, right?
Lions.
Okay,
Lions.
well, it doesn't matter. Zeke shows up to the first preseason game, breaks off a 12-yard run, and then goes to the sideline. That's it. We're talking late 2nd round.
Here's my counter. Why I think it might be close is because the market has already decided, like, a lot of people aren't interested in Zeke. Like in previous years, the casuals would come in and be like, why is Zeke not a 1st round pick? So the market is already really discounting him. We could get some really rosy Tony Pollard camp reports. And so that's my only thing. Like the reason I don't feel so bad about Zeke right now is like we might get him in the Josh Jacobs range.
Oh, I would take
Gibson
him
range.
I would take him
eventually.
in the Jacobs Gibson range.
Yeah.
So I could see it going either way, but it just seems like a fragile situation that, like, based on the camp reports, I could see him going up around or down around easily.
So he's early 4th round, Davis. You're saying that how far would he have to fall before you drafted him?
Here, I'll pull up ADP and let's see exactly.
Well, you saw on that tool that Erik pulled up.
I would
38.9.
I would start taking Zeke at 59.5 right after
That's pretty
Godwin.
close. I have him ranked 64th overall.
Yeah. I would take him instead of Amari Cooper.
That's fair.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah. Who's taking Amari Cooper these days? How far will he fall? That's the question.
Leone. Leone's definitely taking Amari.
When the official suspension comes down and Watson is out for the year, he will be a round 8 pick. He will go after Devonta Smith, Adam Thielen, Drake. He'll go where DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Thomas, and Russell Gage go.
Pete, did I see a spicy Jacoby Brissett take from you in the Fantasy Life newsletter?
I don't. I think it was the opposite of spicy. I think I said he's serviceable enough to
exactly.
My take was that you fade Amari.
Get tight ends.
Are you pumping your bags again?
No, he does. I'll let you speak, Pete.
No, first of all, I did come up with the alternate term because Dave tried to call it, pump and dumping, but what it really is would be like FUD and scooping, I think would be the actual. My take was all the Browns are going to fall now that we have a little more clarity on the Watson situation. And I actually think like the David Bell and Njoku price points could become pretty attractive in that Brissett could easily buoy those guys or support them as, serviceable options. That was my take.
Spicy.
Pete, but grinding the news with the newsletter, what do you got on their running back situation with Hunt and D'Ernest and all of that?
So everything I read, and I've started to scoop more Kareem Hunt and more D'Ernest Johnson because the reports are neither of those guys are a lock for the 53-man roster. Right. And it sounds like one of them could get traded. So D'Ernest Johnson is my kind of comfy last round pick all the time. Just we know he's good, and there's some really nice outs there if he gets traded. And obviously grabbing Hunt in that situation too, Hunt's value increases because D'Ernest was a pest to both him and Chubb.
Right. They're one of the, like, we're in this weird spot of the offseason where I'm trying to think through those situations where it's like, what's the most immediate change that could happen that like totally gives a couple guys more value? And that's like the most clear and obvious one, right? Either one of them gets traded and both of them skyrocket. So you have two outs and if it doesn't work out, like, I don't know, they both were awesome, when they played last year anyway. So it's it's not hurting you.
And it's not like the offense was good, so it's not like
Brissett, Baker, who cares?
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, Hunt was he was a routine, like mid to late 5th round pick all last year. He was the quintessential first 0 RB pick. And now you could get that 5 rounds later than he was going last year. And you have upside outs with the trades. I love it.
Pete, writing the Fantasy Life newsletter, there's a plug for it.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah. Every day,
mm-hmm.
As far as your fantasy life,
mm-hmm.
how much in tune are you this year compared to years past?
Well, this is the third year I've written the newsletter, so I've definitely bet. I mean, it used to be a bit right before I started. I mean, Davis was on Ship Chasing, and Pat would like reference the Athletic nuggets, and I was like, I'll let you guys grind these nuggets. Now I've gotten caught up in big blurb.
You're a sifter. You're a sifter. You become a sifter.
I got an Athletic sub. I have my Twitter list. So yeah, I'm a news hound now, Dave. I've changed.
I get it. When I was doing the Sirius XM and having to grind reports every day, it made me a better fantasy player.
What happened?
Now I've got your newsletter. I've got all the threaded tweets on Twitter.
That's where you get all your news.
And that's how I get the news, basically. And
I like to imagine that Dave has like some kind of board with his own rankings, and every time he sees a thread that's like 4 players you shouldn't draft, he has to go and move them down.
Yeah.
It's like the GIF Charlie from Always Sunny, the GIF with him doing the
except that would imply that David plays fantasy sports, so we all know that's not true.
Smoking a cig, he's just moving Dearness. He's moving Dearness, like he's gonna leave here and go move Dearness up his rankings.
Cam McMillan asked me last week, how hard are you going on these best ball tournaments?
Dave's like, oh dude, I'm in the streets, I'm grinding.
Like,
Shout
I don't
out
know,
Cam.
but yeah,
I talked to Cam about best ball every few days. He's grinding them. He's grinding
what he
best
said.
ball for sure.
He said, I guess he was wanting, to get former finalist take on.
Yeah, he was wanting the he was on the alpha from Dave.
So yeah,
I'm gonna text him right now and be like, please God, stop asking Dave for advice on best ball. Like, please.
I do want to see, because Kitchen does have an addictive personality. I would love to see Dave get addicted to.
If I did, it would be like a bit where it would be like only on DraftKings or only Superflex or only on Drafters, something that was different than the Underdog streets, because there's so much content for Underdog right now.
You don't want to compete. You don't want to compete, Kitchen.
It's saturated. The market is very saturated. Like, who am I to compete with these Beimfours and Pete Overzets of the world?
What do you think we're doing, Pete? Me and Davis are grinding drafters, stealing the.
I appreciate you guys. Someone's got to do it.
Yeah, I might. Like, I legit have thought about the FanDuel at the Yahoo Best Balls, grinding the cash game.
Dave
like,
becoming a Yahoo Best Ball 12-person league thought leader would be incredible.
It has to be something on that.
Week 17, don't know her. All I care about is scooping that sweet value.
This would be a good bit, Dave. This would be a really good bit.
You memorize the schedule for everyone weeks 1 through 4. That's your bit.
Just like factoring in strength of schedule.
Yeah.
Pete, what is your prediction for what becomes the annoying thing next off season?
Wait, Pete's the one who created the annoying thing this offseason.
Can we mute Dave? We're trying to have a serious discussion.
I heard you and Karain talk, or who were you?
No, it's me and Beimfohr.
You and Beimfohr. Okay, yeah. You guys were talking about the combos and stuff. I mean, the real answer is the Sim Bros are coming. Osmo whipped up his Sims. Brian's working on Sims. Like, that stuff is interesting. But I do think to tie it back to some of the Spike Week tools, it is going to be how people think about kind of portfolio. I really do think portfolio construction and balancing that across different contests, different sites. I really think that's what's going to be most interesting for people going forward.
But it's not going to piss people off, like zero running back. So last year we had the wide receiver versus running back thing that like divided the world. And now this year we have the week 17 thing that has divided the world. I think it's going to be, I think more people like you mentioned, Brick and Osmo are the two guys that come to mind. We may even do something, who knows, like with Sims and that kind of stuff, where it's like, well, and I've already joked about this too. It's like, well, the Sims say say this.
So I do have a question about Sims for all of this, which is, so modeling a simulation for one golf tournament, one F1 race or whatever is very different, because you have to give so many assumptions to the sim that you're running, right? Assumptions of health and things. Like, I wonder how effective the Sims for best ball would even be, because
they're not going to be good.
You're going to be modeling out so many outcomes. Like, like truly an infinite number more of outcomes than a 4-day PGA event or whatever.
There's too many variables. So the sim is only as good as you mentioned its inputs, and there's so many inputs you have to make for a 17-week NFL season that it's going to be really, really tough. Even the best modelers and the best data scientists and stuff are not going to be able to do this really well right away. But I think it's going to be the thing people get into.
We need the guys at IBM to be working on this. Like we got to go above. We got to go.
Name, Watson.
Yeah, we got to go above. Yeah, I took some umbrage with Osimo's article, like in a way that it just intuitively didn't make sense with me. But it doesn't mean he's wrong. Mean he's wrong.
And I will just say we're going to talk to him on lulls today, so I do want to hear it from the horse's mouth. But as I understood his week 17 thing, and I'm gonna pin the screws on him on this one. I understand his point. Like if you're purely worried about ROI and that it is easier to advance from week 16 to 17. But I bet if I ask Osimo, you're not getting out of bed for anything less than $1 million. You want to optimize for one of these top 3 or 4 spots. How are you doing that? And I promise you, if you're optimizing for $1 million+ it is not through week 16.
Well, so I don't think his point was wrong because again, if I understood it, it was that you want to optimize for just advancing from 16 to 17, right? Wasn't that effectively?
I think if from an ROI perspective, I get that
Correct.
because it's easier, but I don't think that's optimizing to win the contest.
Well,
ROI
and then
extrapolated onto EV was basically what he was
So
saying.
that's
not
what
optimizing for maximum monetary returns. They're two different things, right?
yeah, which brings us. I want to ask you too this question because the farming did so well. But if you guys could know the statistic output of one player, which
Are you trying to farm us?
No, I find it.
Retweeting your tweet. I'm not retweeting you.
I don't want you to. I'm generally curious your answer. If you could have because I think the most compelling answers to if you could know the stat line of one player. I think the level 1 answer that makes sense is CMC, right? Because he's CMC and he could be the highest scoring player. But I don't think CMC makes sense because you can't get him on every team.
Yeah.
I think it makes much more sense for it to be a cheaper player that you can get on every team.
Gotta be cheaper. Yep.
But more importantly, you want to get the information either way, whether they do poorly or whether they do well. So I ultimately landed on the round 10 to round 12 handcuff running backs, Singletary, Rashad White, Pollard, whoever. But Pete, what is your answer?
Well, to me, the biggest riddle and like the highest upside all surrounds the Chiefs, right? Between the pass catchers, the running back.
Juju was the other answer that people said.
Well, I almost wonder if I would do it via through Kelsey. Like if I could see Kelsey's stat line, that would probably tell me a lot.
Yeah, but so let's say Kelsey gets 97 receptions, 1,200 yards, and 9 touchdowns. What are you learning that really changes the way you draft? I don't think that's that.
Well,
helpful.
That's probably like a median thing. So then I don't get as much information. It would more be like if he crushes and it's like, all right, maybe these other guys didn't step up, or if he really underperforms, then it's like I'm loading up on Juju MVS.
That's why I think Juju is the better answer because either you get the potential smash, or if Juju has 58 receptions, 800 yards, 2 touchdowns, then you're literally going in every draft saying, I cannot leave without one of Sky, MVS, or Hardman.
I think it's one of the 3. I don't know which receiver it is, but it's Juju, MVS, or Sky Moore. 100. McCall is not.
I don't think it's Sky because Sky could have a bad season and you wouldn't learn that much. I don't think.
I think you would learn something at least. Maybe he's lower in that pecking order, but if Sky Moore doesn't have a good, like if the results come back and Sky Moore has 14 catches for 100 yards, the Chiefs are going to throw for 4,500 yards or 5,000 yards or whatever it is. Now you start to extrapolate that over only so many other bodies, and that does become very important. It like solidifies everybody else. It's either Juju or MVS would have been my answer. I think MVS is my answer because he's a little cheaper. And if you get the median on MVS, kind of like what Pete said with Kelsey, if you get the median on Kelsey, it's like, okay, that's something. But if I get the median on MVS, now I can really say, okay, he did kind of what the naysayers are saying. Like he's just going to get you a couple big weeks here and there, nothing special. That means Juju and Kelsey just like got to be good, or Sky. It's like now I have this awesome answer for 3 other guys. So I think it's probably Juju or MVS.
Yeah, I think that's right.
All right. We are now over.
What about you, Dave? Do you have a thoughtful
Yeah,
answer?
Dave.
I fell asleep when you guys started talking stats. Like, you guys have this is not a stat podcast. Come on.
I think that people sort of enjoy serious discussions about how they can win money.
Let us know in the comments. Do you enjoy 5-minute monologues on projected player stats? Let us know.
My guess is that was a far more interesting conversation than what's playing out in Davis's mentions right now.
I haven't read them, but probably. My guess is that people would rather hear that than hear about tight end U, Dave. Just a guess.
Tight end U was just a segment into talking about tight ends. It's just
called
a segment,
hosting,
Davis.
Maybe
be
learn
a professional for once. Like, you're talking about engagement farming. You spent like 4 hours setting up the farm. Like, it's not what you do.
I don't even know what that means.
You let everyone else do the work for you. You set it up with just something simple.
Here's my 9-tweet thread about why you should let other people do your farming for you.
Yeah. So you still have something to learn in the farming streets, Davis. But that's okay. All right, Eric.
Do you think that works? Do you think that works? If I just quote tweet every Holka thread, do you think that would
I don't think you'll get
No, you gotta
that.
do it. No, you gotta do it yourself, and please don't quote tweet every.
Okay, I'm not going.
Holka thread.
You
Eric,
read them, don't you?
Eric, you might have been one of the originators of the thread as well. Like, you went hard on the threads.
100%. But
Dude,
not because I was hacking the Twitter. I'm just not concise.
You were upset.
I'm not a concise person.
I just saw a weird thing, but do you guys know who Chris Pronger is, the old NHL player? He's become a thread bro. He's on Twitter, like doing out like entrepreneurial threads. It's all consuming.
It's
people who get
Twitter into LinkedIn. I mean, it really is, as far as some of the stuff.
But I'm sure there's money to be made doing it.
Oh yeah.
At what cost?
At what cost?
Pete, you should turn the ship chasing account into fantasy football threads.
Yeah.
Please,
Every
no.
4 days when I think about logging into that account, I'm sure I'll fire up.
So last thing before we leave, do you guys like watch anything on YouTube that's not fantasy related? Have you watched the Ryan Trahan penny thing where he's raising money by surviving on a penny going across the country?
No.
So,
but I would watch it.
Yeah, he's got like 10 million followers.
Sounds interesting.
This kid, he is my adopted son. Like,
what do you guys have in common?
He's just like such a fun, loving, handsome guy, and just really good personality.
I was gonna say after the crypto crash, you're both surviving on a penny. I thought that was where we were headed.
Might be
well, Dave was surviving on a penny before because that's how much he sold his board apes for.
So you guys, you guys know, like, some of my name drops in the past. If you listen to anything 4th of July, Katy Perry, yeah, whatever. Well, I've never been so starstruck as last week downtown when I saw Ryan Trahan downtown doing the challenge. This thing is like the biggest thing on YouTube, and I almost got out of the car to talk to him, but I didn't.
How old is he? He has almost 9.7 million subs on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm telling you. And so I guess he was in Nashville, but like he hadn't revealed that yet. So I got the secret answer, and I'm like, man, in my head, I thought about like going to him and what if I like got on this video that was getting like 2 or 3 million and I didn't do it. Instead, some family in Nashville took him to their farm and now they're going to be famous.
And it would have been really good for the show because you probably would have plugged this show and then it wouldn't have happened for 3 weeks.
That could have started my influencer career.
Do you think if you got to a certain level of fame, you'd commit to doing this show once a week at a standardized time?
No, if I won the lottery or the underdog best ball 2 million.
Well, you gotta buy a ticket to win the prize, King.
They don't just give them out like DraftKings does. But no, I would. I think I'd probably do more of the Swolecast for sure.
Instead of just doing your job, instead of just doing it as part of like your job.
Dave needs to win the lotto to do this show weekly? Is that what we just heard?
Well, I would reduce some of my normal. I would reduce some of my normal.
You can't reduce zero, Dave.
Zero. The absolute value of zero is zero, Dave.
This is a good time to bring up. I can't do next Wednesday at this time.
Oh my god!
I'll make Tuesday or Thursday work.
And Davis, be my witness here. I have not been the problem recently to Swolecast episodes. It's been Pete.
I'm not going to confirm or deny that.
Yes,
I can't.
100%. Where were you last week, Pete?
I can't even remember. Oh, exactly. I was in New York. What? No, but we changed the day around the time.
We changed the day because that's what you and Davis wanted.
I had to eat my lunch during the show today because I was planning to eat lunch at 2, and then you guys moved the show up to 2. So I had to eat my lunch during the show. We're all making sacrifices around here.
All right. Well, this is good TV. So we'll end on this note. Eric, tell people where they can find your stuff.
Yeah, I don't have my Twitter handle in my little thing here, but it is just my name, like everyone. Well, not Dave, but the other two fellas here at Erik Beimfohr on Twitter. And yeah, just go to spikeweek.com. Follow Spike Week on Twitter at Spike Week. I am actually, to be serious for a second, like really excited about the stuff we pushed out in the last week or so. We took the Underdog Superflex launch model with the tool where we launched it. It broke immediately. And we had to take it down for a couple of days, but it has actually worked out really well. I'm really happy with where we are. You can see almost everything we want you to see so far about your portfolio, and we're continuing to add to it. If you've drafted even like a handful of best ball teams, I really do think it's totally worth it. I'm one of the biggest best ball degenerates like that exist on the planet. And every time I try to look into the tool, I learn stuff about the teams that I've drafted. And so I think everybody can become a better player just simply by a little bit of work with the 5-10 minutes with our Draft IQ tool.
Awesome. Davis, final thoughts?
Stay tuned to this space for more engagement farming, where I will use your replies and likes to further build my own brand.
All right. Can't wait. Peter?
I will also do another Spike Week plug and reiterate, go watch Rob's Week 17 shanty song. Just honestly,
Great
just
work.
Completely absurd. And I mean, my struggle when I'm doing bits is I can never find anyone to do them with me. So the fact that Rob just has 2 henchmen willing to do that with him is just mind blowing to me.
And those guys, I think, are on his this guy's so talented. They have a ghost tour podcast that's like
hometown ghost stories. They're trying to get me to go tour by myself some of the local like haunted houses and stuff. And that's he's messaging me like, go to this place or whatever at this time. And I'm like, and it's called like something absolutely absurd. And I'm like, I'm not going like at 10 p.m. to some haunted house just for your content. Like, I apologize, but that's not in my bag.
Just play this as the outro. Let's go full screen with the audio. Come on.
Can I plug one more thing? Can I plug one more thing?
Yes, go ahead.
So I was telling you guys before this, on Friday, it's the 4th of July. It's the 4th of July holiday weekend. We're doing a hot dog eating contest best ball stream with Rob. Another thing I love chopping it up with Rob and doing absolutely absurd things. So we're going to eat a hot dog every pick we make on the draft on Friday. So be on the lookout for that on Spike Week.
I would abstain in making my last 17 picks.
Eric actually already said, if I saw Dave in one of the Penny videos, I would have turned it off. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate all the positive support you give us. Leave a comment. Special thanks to Sosa for putting up with us. And we look forward to seeing him grow along with the show. So we'll talk to you guys next week here in the Swolecast, RotoGunners.com. Peace.